This podcast is sponsored by Talkspace. You know when you're really stressed or not feeling so great about your life or about yourself? Talking to someone who understands can really help. But who is that person? How do you find them? Where do you even start? Talkspace. Talkspace makes it easy to get the support you need. With Talkspace, you can go online, answer a few questions about your preferences, and be matched with a therapist. And because you'll meet your therapist online, you don't have to take time off work or arrange childcare. You'll meet on your schedule, wherever you feel most at ease. If you're depressed, stressed, struggling with a relationship, or if you want some counseling for you and your partner, or just need a little extra one-on-one support, Talkspace is here for you. Plus, Talkspace works with most major insurers, and most insured members have a $0 copay. No insurance? No problem. Now get $80 off of your first month with promo code SPACE80 when you go to Talkspace.com. Match with a licensed therapist today at Talkspace.com. Save $80 with code SPACE80 at Talkspace.com.
Unknown submarine contact in the vital area. Away the Nixie team away. Away the Nixie team away. Set general quarters. Set general quarters. General quarters, on hand, leave out station. General quarters, on hand, leave out station.
Tonight, Clint and BZ are going to tear through the gristle of today's screaming headlines right here on the Shat Show, the Sackheads Against Tyranny. We're going to rip out the sinewy tendons of truth ensconced within all. From the hoary streets of Shatramento, Fornicalia, exposing the trembling toadies, the sniveling jackanapes, and the fripperous fopdoodles infesting altogether too much of this great nation of ours. Feel free to partake of our chat room at shrmedia.com, featuring the effervescent contrarian, Sackhead's CLINT, Yonder, and the unrestrained bulbosity of the Zepmeister, doubling your late-night conservative talk show pleasure with double the hosts. It's true freestyle radio. I have to tell you this, that beware, some contents may have settled during shipping. Member FDIC, batteries not included. Tear across dotted line. Hey, ho in Mexico.
Do not remove.
Patent pending. Warranty void in
Montenegro.
Thank you. So tonight, Clint and BZ, we're going to talk about a veritable gaggle. No, a shrewdness, a murmuration, an obstinacy, a warren, a pandemonium, a gaggle, a muster, a covey, an unkindness, a maelstrom, a knot, a shiver, a murder, an intrusion, a smack, a hive, a prickle, yea, a veritable cauldron of topics. Yonder across from me is, in fact, Sackheads Clint, one each, and I will be your server and your quite obese somnambulist reprobate for tonight. Sorry, I have to tell you this.
Insomniac.
Yeah, we don't take American Express. We don't even take the black card, okay?
I don't even know how many times we have to say this.
That's right. Or personal checks. We do not take personal checks. And again, the emphasis, rightly so, on this. And I continue to emphasize that, folks, this is an exhibition, not a competition. So please.
No wagering.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much. We have the distinct pleasure of, for the first time ever on the Sackheads. Oh, I got to tell you something. I have a BZ story.
Oh, let me hear.
This is so weird. Well, I'll tell you.
How weird is it? I'm going to do the match game thing.
Yeah. God, anybody remember the dating game
Yes.
and the newlywed game?
Yes. Wasn't it the dating
created
game?
by Barris, that guy Barris,
yeah.
the weird guy.
Yeah.
Weird guy. And he also had
Wasn't the dating game the one where like the serial killer was on?
Yes, he was. Yes, exactly.
Was he a contestant or was he
George Barris?
picking?
Chuck Barris.
Chuck Barris.
Chuck Barris.
Yes.
And Chuck Barris was also, he created, God, of all crazy things. Does anyone out there remember The Gong Show?
Yes.
And or did you ever watch
Yes.
The Gong Show?
Yes. When I was a wee lad.
Holy crap. What a weird-ass show. It was so strange that even I didn't like it very much. I thought it was really, really stupid. Welcome to Mike in chat, the Alaskan in chat, and somebody who is not you.
Right. This is not Clint.
In chat.
In chat.
So, a quick... well, first, before I get to the BZ story, I want to ask you, or do you have any Clint stories?
No, I want to hear the BZ story.
Okay. This one is quick, but it's very unique.
Okay.
So there I was.
And I've heard that about you. You may be small, but you sure are quick.
I am fast, but I'm sure old. Really, really old.
Really old.
So there I was, sitting in this very same chair last night.
That one right there?
This chair right here. And what happens? I get a phone call. And it's a number that I'm looking at from X-Lite over here. And I've been giving out the number.
Right.
And so somebody calls in. It's a number I don't recognize. Because the people that are customers, that are generally the people that will call here semi-regularly, I have in X-Lite, I've put in their names. So that when their number comes up, I know who it is. So for those of you who have called and you know who it is, now you know how I know it's you, unless you call from, the phone down the street. There are no pay. When's the last time you saw a payphone?
Last week.
Did you really?
I really did.
Where did you see a payphone? Was it like in a building, or was it just sitting by itself on a corner?
Nope. It was actually in a not very nice part of town, in a location that I was at, and
an actual payphone.
It was an actual payphone.
Now, it wasn't a booth. No booth?
No, it was one of the stands.
It was a stand where the phone is kind of semi-covered.
Right.
And it's one of the vertical phones?
Yep.
Okay. God, I didn't think we had any left.
They are so rare. They are so rare.
Oh, God, this is going to date me. Or maybe plum me or prune me or something like that. I can remember when I was out in my district in the 80s, and if I wanted to call in a report, because we had a report writing system, and I had a little cheat sheet where I could call in reports, and the people it would get recorded, and then it'd get transcribed, and theoretically it was ready for me at the end of the shift in the 80s. I used to do that on payphones. I'd call in reports on payphones.
Not the call boxes?
No, actually, here's another weird thing. I actually do have a call box key. I snagged it from an SPD officer. The Sacramento Police Department had call boxes.
Yes, they did.
Now, the Sheriff's Department never had call boxes, but historically speaking, the city of Sacramento started in 1849. Think Gold Rush. Mm-hmm. And so I used to actually be able to go into Sac PD because my district...
This podcast is sponsored by Talkspace. You know when you're really stressed or not feeling so great about your life or about yourself? Talking to someone who understands can really help. But who is that person? How do you find them? Where do you even start? Talkspace. Talkspace makes it easy to get the support you need. With Talkspace, you can go online, answer a few questions about your preferences, and be matched with a therapist. And because you'll meet your therapist online, you don't have to take time off work or arrange childcare. You'll meet on your schedule, wherever you feel most at ease. If you're depressed, stressed, struggling with a relationship, or if you want some counseling for you and your partner, or just need a little extra one-on-one support, Talkspace is here for you. Plus, Talkspace works with most major insurers, and most insured members have a $0 copay. No insurance? No problem. Now get $80 off of your first month with promo code SPACE80 when you go to Talkspace.com. Match with a licensed therapist today at Talkspace.com. Save $80 with code SPACE80 at Talkspace.com.
Over the past 75 years, more than 10,000 chemicals have entered our food supply, but the EU allows just 300 additives. At Thrive Market, we prioritize quality, banning over 1,000 ingredients found in conventional grocery stores. Our Healthy Swap scanner helps you find better versions of your pantry essentials without the junk, dyes, or fillers, and everything is delivered right to your doorstep. So shop at a grocery store that actually cares about your health at thrivemarket.com/get-started for 30% off your first order and a free $60 gift.
Bordered right on Sac PD's area. And occasionally, one time, I actually used my call box key just to see if it worked. And it did. It did. There was a phone inside.
Was the bottle inside, too, right next to the handset? It's okay. You can say it, BZ. The statute of limitations is up. You can talk about it.
There was an actual bottle. There was no, historically, cops, there was a flask or something. Fuck no flask.
It was just the bottle.
It was a bottle of Jim Beam.
Yeah, I'm sure it was.
It was a full bottle of Jim Beam. Now, that's some funny shit. I don't care who you are. That is funny. Okay, so last night, there I was, sitting in this very same chair. I get a phone call over X-Lite. I don't recognize the number. It's someone calling in from New Zealand. I had a chick call in from New Zealand to talk about gun control because New Zealand, Australia, I don't know if you're hip to a lot of the stuff that's going on in Australia. Australia had that massive gun confiscation program that occurred in either 95 or 96.
And no more violent crime.
Right.
No more violent crime. It ended it.
That sure took care of that.
Yeah.
If I get Jack Alexander back on, or if he ends up being in chat, he may call in because he's got some things. He's from Australia, and I talk to him every once in a while. But she's talking about gun crime and the confiscation of guns right now, where New Zealand is starting to go home to home. Because initially, I think it was 2 months ago, something like that, maybe 3 months, the demand for firearms went out. And the response was like crickets, free deed, free deed, free deed. And I guess...
I think fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. I think that's more the sound that those crickets were making.
I believe you to be about 110% correct on that one. So the powers that be were a little upset. Alaskan, hey, Alaskan is chatty.
So how did they
crazy.
handle it? How are they handling it? Are they saying, come on in, get my guns, or are they saying, there's no guns here?
We didn't go into that, but basically what she was indicating is that New Zealand is well on its way to a massive crisis. I mean, if you thought Canada was crazy, left, apparently New Zealand is lefterer. Oh, there's another article that I saw, and I was going to bring it to... Damn it, I was going to bring it to the show. Canada, folks, had a shooting in Toronto, I believe.
How can that be? There's no guns there.
And I think
that's impossible.
Like 10 people got shot or something like that. In Toronto! In Canada! Canucks, what the hell are you thinking? What are you thinking? Allowing this... I thought Trudeau was going to solve all that stuff. And apparently he didn't.
No, he didn't.
No, apparently he didn't. So, no CLINT story.
That's okay.
That was my BZ story. I mean, I was knocked dead that I had somebody call in from New Zealand. And it was just like Alaskan says. It was a great call. It really was. She was informative, smart, spoke well. I told her, anytime you want to call me, I'm here. That was a great call. But that was my first international call.
Wow.
So
that's a great story.
Yeah, I was shocked and amazed. I got to tell you, the first couple of seconds. Oh, okay, it was a female. And so I saw the phone ring, okay? Mm-hmm. So I clicked it, I opened it so she could hear that, she's going to be up. When I click the phone, you can hear that I'm talking, you can hear what's going on, and then you can hear when I introduce you. So I got to the point where I was going to introduce the caller. I didn't know it was her, she was a her. So I said, unidentified mystery caller, come on the line and tell us what you're thinking or forever hold your codpiece. Oops.
She had no codpiece.
Apparently not. Or it was someone who wasn't quite aware of what a codpiece is.
Was she offended?
I went, no. I was happy
That she was not offended?
that she apparently didn't even mention it.
Now,
so I was really happy.
If there are that far left over there, can you call her a her, or do you have to call her a they?
Oh.
Why are you using gender-specific words to refer to our callers?
Let's see.
Do you have it?
Yeah, do you want to go to that? Do you want to do that right now?
Yeah.
Because it's 8, that's about 8:13 on the far left coast. We haven't quite bullshitted for a full 15 minutes yet. And so if you want,
we can continue to bullshit, because I wanted to ask you something on the whole call box thing, and I know you had a call box key and you used to use the payphone. But now correct me if I'm wrong.
Just one time.
Correct me if I'm wrong. When you used payphones, that was in the 80s, so you had what, 30, 40, about 45 years on the job, I'm guessing at that point, right?
More like 60.
So when you first came on, did they run the red flag up the gas station flagpole? And that's where you would go in and call dispatch?
No.
And get your call?
No, what I had to do is it was one of the phones that had the wire. It wasn't the little curly cord, but it was the wire that was cloth.
Okay.
And you'd pick it up from the handle, and the handle would go up like this.
Right.
And you'd take it and go tick, tick, ting, 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 ting. And then you put it to the ear. And
they'd say Sacramento 149.
No, and then you'd say, Martha, you there? And she'd say, yeah. And I said, can I break into the party line? I need to call. I need to call for a call. And she would do that.
That's great.
Okay.
So, but the gas station didn't run the flag up, and you'd see the flag, and that's how you would know to call dispatch?
No, we didn't have semaphores.
Okay.
You know, like the Navy,
Right.
various little flags and banners and whatnot.
Yeah, no, it's just a single flag.
You want to hear something weird?
Yes.
I can still remember, and I bought a copy of my grandmother's phone. My phones used to weigh probably 8 pounds, and I bought an old electric, some General Electric, big old, heavy as hell. I can remember the original phone number for my house and my grandma's house in downtown Sacramento. Because at the time, the prefixes were like a name, and ours was Ivanhoe. Ivanhoe 95253.
Now, that's a Russian prostitute, is it not?
Right, exactly. And we shortened it to Ivy. So if you gave somebody your phone number, you'd say, call Ivy 95253. That was the old house. And then Grandma's house, if you wanted to call downtown at 2526 27th Street, figure that out.
This podcast is sponsored by Talkspace. You know when you're really stressed or not feeling so great about your life or about yourself? Talking to someone who understands can really help. But who is that person? How do you find them? Where do you even start? Talkspace. Talkspace makes it easy to get the support you need. With Talkspace, you can go online, answer a few questions about your preferences, and be matched with a therapist. And because you'll meet your therapist online, you don't have to take time off work or arrange childcare. You'll meet on your schedule, wherever you feel most at ease. If you're depressed, stressed, struggling with a relationship, or if you want some counseling for you and your partner, or just need a little extra one-on-one support, Talkspace is here for you. Plus, Talkspace works with most major insurers, and most insured members have a $0 copay. No insurance? No problem. Now get $80 off of your first month with promo code SPACE80 when you go to Talkspace.com. Match with a licensed therapist today at Talkspace.com. Save $80 with code SPACE80 at Talkspace.com.
The phone number was Gladstone 55483. My God, I still remember this stuff. So it was GL 55483.
You should call. You should actually pick up dial 0 and just say, I need to get Gladstone 55843.
Martha?
Just to see what happened.
Martha,
What
can
would
I
happen?
get Gladstone?
If you dial 0 now, does an operator come on? I don't know. I haven't called in a while.
I don't even know.
Because I know popcorn no longer works.
No. I used to call popcorn.
I did
fairly
too.
frequently to
Set
get your
the
watch going and make sure you could set stuff.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. I think we blasted all that into oblivion, talking about how old we are. Okay,
Right. So I might have a Clint story.
Okay, great.
So I'm not in the office very often, but when I am, I actually have on my desk, I have an old phone. It's not a rotary phone, but it's an old handset, the curly cord and the push button on the face. Right, so it lays flat. I do. I have one of those.
A push button on a standard-looking phone.
Standard-looking phone, yes. The handset, standard-looking handset. I have one on my desk. It doesn't work. I picked one up. It's a joke.
Oh, okay.
It's red, and I put the word avalanche on it, right, just because it's my avalanche phone, like for emergencies, right? So it's my joke phone. But so I actually, once in a while, when there are new people that come into my workspace,
stray into your office.
I will walk around with that phone, holding and you know how that has that part in the back where you can kind of grab onto it with your fingers.
Exactly. Right.
So I'd grab onto that, and I'd have the handset in my hand with the cord attached, and I walk around the halls and I just talk into it randomly.
Okay, now is the cord from the phone running back into your office?
Nope.
Or is
Nope.
Okay, so it's cordless.
It's cordless.
Oh wait. Okay. Are you telling me that it's a cordless phone with the push buttons and people buy that?
Yes. Yes, the new people that don't. Yes, and so I sit there and walk around, and there was this. So I did have a Clint story. This happened last week. We have a new employee in the office.
Oh God,
a new.
I wish you'd taken a video.
We have a new.
Seen
I can. Don't worry, I'll get more. We have a new person in the front office area, and I was talking, and she was looking at me, and she was trying to figure out what the hell I was doing.
Oh my God!
Because she couldn't figure out if I was serious or not. And I stopped and I said, "Oh, yeah, she's right here. Hang on." And I said, "It's for you." And she looked at me. She didn't know whether to shit or wind her watch. And she picks up the handset and she says, "Hello?" And she looks at me confused for a second, and I guess I have this, like, I start getting this grin on my face, and she said, "Hello? This is so-and-so." And I start laughing, and a couple other people start laughing, and she was like, "Oh my gosh," she turned beet red. She was embarrassed. She thought it was funny, thank God.
Yeah, it's California after all.
Yeah. So there is. I did have a fun story after all, and the phone reminded me of it.
Okay. All right. As per normal, folks, there's my treat, and thanks again to Clint.
My pleasure. My pressure.
For that. My pleasure.
My pressure.
My precious.
Oh, yeah, Gollum.
Yeah. What movie?
Lord of the Rings.
That's right.
Yeah, Lord of the Rings.
So I have this queued up here, and I'm going to have to move the phone thing over here a little bit. What?
This is great. Did you send this to me, or did I send this one to you?
Which?
The clip that you're about to play.
The one that we're going to go to?
Yes.
Okay. I don't know. You may have sent it, and I may have looked at it in sort of a passing
and then
fashion.
You sent it back to me?
And then I read the story, and then when I read it, I thought, no. But then I played the audio. Now, in this story, this is a great story. This story does, in fact, have, I believe it's got 3 audio cuts, which we're going to play. And I don't know if you're looking at the story itself.
I'm not. I was actually looking to see if I could pull it up, but I'm familiar with it.
Okay. So the headline on this is the Democratic Socialists. And folks, if you don't think that there is an actual Democrat Socialist Party, there really is.
Oh, yes.
It exists.
Yes.
And
they are communists.
And AOC, when she says she's a Democrat Socialist, well, she's joined. That is a real party, and she has joined it. It's not something that she's just saying or pulling out of thin air. She really is a Democrat Socialist, and they have a convention. So that's the lead-in.
I was surprised where the convention was held. This convention, I believe, was in Georgia, which surprises the hell out of me.
Okay, I'm looking at the story. Yes, you're right.
Yeah.
But, okay, stop there just for a second. Didn't all the movies
yes, they did.
say that they were going to boycott Georgia?
Yes, they did.
Because Georgia passed an abortion bill.
Yes. They've threatened to boycott Georgia over a couple different things.
And yet, this, which is, just about the most leftist of leftist organizations that you can get, Democrat socialists.
They're communists.
You're right.
Let's call them,
right.
Yeah, they're communists.
You're right. They had this convention in Georgia.
Yes.
So the Democratic Socialists of America, DSA, had their national convention in Georgia, and it came to a screeching halt when a bunch of impassioned little speeches occurred. And then after that, it just basically, it kind of fell apart.
I think you should just play the audio, let it speak for
Okay.
itself, and then let's run the commentary.
Okay. This is from a tweet. Let's see. This is from Young Americans Against Socialism, and it says, meanwhile, at the Democrat Socialists of America conference. Oh, come on. Are you going to play for me?
I'll play for you.
Are you going to play Misty for me?
I'll play Misty for you. Great movie, Clint Eastwood.
Oh, heck yeah. Okay, let me see if I can refresh this. Come on.
Can we play it?
Come on. I've got. If I don't have it here, I've got it backed up.
There it is. Nope.
Okay. Here.
Play it.
This. Oh, you son of a biscuit eater. Okay. Well, I've got it buried over here. I've got
Unbury it.
a backup. Where's my backup?
Did you see the meme I sent you?
No, what was that?
I don't know if we should put that on screen.
Oh, yes, I did. Yeah, heck yeah.
Can we put that on?
Yeah.
So this is funny. This is the picture. I don't know if you can see it. I did not create this.
Okay, let me get you.
So that's the picture of the individual.
by
And
yourself.
what it says is, do I want to be a boy or a girl today? OMG, did I just assume there are only two genders? It's like I literally raped my...
This podcast is sponsored by Talkspace. You know when you're really stressed or not feeling so great about your life or about yourself? Talking to someone who understands can really help. But who is that person? How do you find them? Where do you even start? Talkspace. Talkspace makes it easy to get the support you need. With Talkspace, you can go online, answer a few questions about your preferences, and be matched with a therapist. And because you'll meet your therapist online, you don't have to take time off work or arrange childcare. You'll meet on your schedule, wherever you feel most at ease. If you're depressed, stressed, struggling with a relationship, or if you want some counseling for you and your partner, or just need a little extra one-on-one support, Talkspace is here for you. Plus, Talkspace works with most major insurers, and most insured members have a $0 copay. No insurance? No problem. Now get $80 off of your first month with promo code SPACE80 when you go to Talkspace.com. Match with a licensed therapist today at Talkspace.com. Save $80 with code SPACE80 at Talkspace.com.
Myself.
Yeah.
But you know what? You know what's sad? That's the thought.
Oh, here it is.
That's the thought of some of these folks on the left. Crazy. It kind of fits right in with the whole Democratic Socialist
I've got
thing.
a bunch of audio cuts and stories about this. Okay, now I think it's going to play over on this side. I don't know why it's being so difficult. One of the reasons it's being difficult, though, is because I've got so many tabs.
Is it because the media doesn't want you to hear it?
No, it's just a matter of
It's a conspiracy.
Oh, I mean, yes.
Yeah,
I mean, yes, it is, yes.
It's a CN.
Okay.
Okay, go.
All right. Now what? All right. I've got the volume up.
We played this up. We can't not have it work now.
I know. Oh, this is really pissing me off.
What if you play it from your phone?
Okay. Luckily, I do have. Can you chat for a little bit while I see if I can fix this issue?
I can chat for a little bit.
Okay, for a little bit.
So I'm surprised that the Democratic Socialists of America, obviously, they have their convention in Georgia. They are so out there, I'm glad they're out in your face so that everybody can kind of see what they are. And I know we want to get into the debates a little bit later on. But we have the debates where everybody is racing to the left. They're basically tearing down Obama's record, which is funny in and of itself because they're trying to harm Biden. And this is what you have at this convention.
Okay, let me see if I can.
You got it?
Let me see if this will go for me.
All right, go. Come on. Make it work.
Quick point of privilege. Quick point of personal privilege.
Yes.
Guys, first, please keep the chatter prone to sensory overload. There's a lot of whispering and chatter going on. It's making it very difficult for me to focus. Please, can we just, I know we're all fresh and ready to go, but can we please just keep the chatter to a minimum? It's affecting my ability to focus. Thank you.
Thank you, comrade. Okay, is
Comrade.
there a speaker against name, chapter, pronoun?
Point of personal privilege.
Yes.
Please do not use gendered language to address everyone.
Okay.
Okay. All right. But wait.
There's more.
There's more.
There's more.
A comrade was, in fact, apparently triggered terribly. It's very sad.
Quick point of privilege once again. Hi, James Jackson, Sacramento DSA, he, him. I have already asked people to be mindful of the chatter of their comrades who are sensitive to sensory overload, and that goes double for the heckling and the hissing. It is also triggering to my anxiety. Like, the be comradely isn't just for, like, let's keep things civil or whatever. It's so that people aren't going to get triggered and so that it doesn't affect their performance as a delegate, okay? Your need to express yourself is important, but your need to express yourself should not trump or over, like,
What?
Okay, so
Your need to express yourself is important, but it's not as important as their need to express themselves.
As, once again, it's not as important as I am.
Right, and I have anxiety.
I'm more important than you are. Okay, here's the third bit. Let me see if I can get this one to play.
We have quiet rooms that are available. There's a range of options of these, right? One thing to note there, for instance, right? The proper doors. Don't try and exit through these or any other sort of like fun shortcuts you see. You have to have your credentials at all times. There are right-wing infiltrators who are trying to get in. Generally, try to be chill, right? Take a deep breath. Feel better before you say anything.
Yeah.
Please don't tweet photos of your credentials.
Right.
If you have friends here that you would like to be here and they don't have credentials, don't let them in. Don't make exceptions for those people. Don't really talk to anybody who doesn't have a credential, especially if they claim to be from the press. Please do not talk to anybody who identifies themselves as a member of the press.
Interesting.
Don't talk to cops. Don't talk to MAGA assholes. Don't talk to cops if there are cops there for any reason at all, right? If you do see someone talking to cops, let the marshals know.
Let the marshals know.
Let the marshals know.
Let the bodies hit the floor. Let the bodies hit the floor. Let the bodies hit the floor.
Do you think that's what they're saying?
No, that's a song.
I know.
I've heard for quite some time. Hey, we got to take a break. When we come back, you and I were talking about this before the show, and as I was trying to describe this story to you and describe this audio to you, as I told you, you were aghast that this individual with this background was saying this thing. So while we're on the subject of basically off the chart, crazy leftist, dingbat, unhinged, I'm running out of adjectives for these leftists and Democrats.
They've been full of it this last week, and I know I'm guessing we're going to get to some of the shootings.
We are going to get to that.
But one of them is played up, and Trump's of course being blamed for all these. But
right.
They're not talking about the Dayton one where the guy was actually a freaking leftist.
Yeah, and we're going to tell you. Oh, okay, you big-footed that. Okay, fine. All right. Okay.
Was I not supposed to?
No, I was thinking
Sorry.
that, but and ideally it would have gone, and we're going to tell you why.
Right,
see
I
how that
always
goes?
screw that part up.
And we're going to, so folks.
Oh, we got to leave them hanging. That's
right.
why.
So folks,
that they
it's
stay.
a teaser. It's a teaser.
I got it.
So
I've never been a good tease.
That's okay.
Let's
So
give them
what
the whole
we'll
thing.
say is, and folks, we'll tell you more about that.
We'll tell you more
about that.
About that.
Right
after
this.
After these commercial
Conservative
words.
media.
Right.
Done
Does that sound good?
right.
You got it.
You're listening to the SHR Media Network. For 50 years, I've seen the American people blinded by corrupt politicians, a lapdog media, and deceptive Islam. The one thing the elites fear is one man with a cane. I'm Dave Milner. Join me through Spreaker, iTunes, and SoundCloud, through SHR Media and the Western Free Radio Network, for half a century of experienced perspective on political and social issues, weekly on The Unpleasant Blind Guy. And catch me on Jeff Mitchell's EDL Radio on blogtalkradio.com. There's
no surrender, ever.
Because truth is not always pleasant.
This podcast is sponsored by Talkspace. You know when you're really stressed or not feeling so great about your life or about yourself? Talking to someone who understands can really help. But who is that person? How do you find them? Where do you even start? Talkspace. Talkspace makes it easy to get the support you need. With Talkspace, you can go online, answer a few questions about your preferences, and be matched with a therapist. And because you'll meet your therapist online, you don't have to take time off work or arrange childcare. You'll meet on your schedule, wherever you feel most at ease. If you're depressed, stressed, struggling with a relationship, or if you want some counseling for you and your partner, or just need a little extra one-on-one support, Talkspace is here for you. Plus, Talkspace works with most major insurers, and most insured members have a $0 copay. No insurance? No problem. Now get $80 off of your first month with promo code SPACE80 when you go to Talkspace.com. Match with a licensed therapist today at Talkspace.com. Save $80 with code SPACE80 at Talkspace.com.
Business diva here, Melanie Collette. I am inviting you to a front row seat as I discuss some of the most intriguing details of wealth and finance with today's movers and shakers in the world of business. Listen in and discover financial truths on a global, domestic, and household scale. Uncover topics that will impact your wallet today and in the future. Money Talk with Melanie airs Monday through Friday, 5 p.m. East, 2 p.m. West, right here on SHR Media and High Plains Pundit Talk Radio. You can't afford to miss it.
From a public locker inside a dilapidated Long Island rail station comes a show designed to piss off liberals using truth, facts, and ridicule. The Lid Radio Show, featuring the conservative voice from the People's Republic of New York, the Lid himself, Jeff Dunitz. Tune in every Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific on the SHR Media Network. Go to shrmedia.com. At Lid Radio, we fight for the truth, justice, and a good kosher T-bone. If you don't listen, Hillary Clinton might sneak into your bedroom in her housecoat late at night and blame you for her election loss. It's the Lid Radio Show with Jeff Dunitz.
Hey girls, Carry Girl Gear is here. More and more women every day are concealed carrying, participating in competitive shooting, and getting firearms training. It's not a boys' club anymore, and we don't have to shop in their stores anymore either. Finally, a cool and unique clothing line just for women. Dope tees and hats for the patriotic concealed carry and 2A girl. So what are you waiting for? Go check out carrygirlgear.com today.
Broadcasting behind enemy lines in occupied California, a mere 2 miles from the state capital, the bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon radio show can be heard every Tuesday and Thursday night at 8 p.m. Pacific and 11 p.m. Eastern, only on the SHR Media Network. Go to shrmedia.com to listen. You can also watch on the SHR Media Facebook page and the SHR Media YouTube channel. No goldfish were abused in the making of this ad.
New show on the SHR Media Network, Sackheads Against Tyranny. On shrmedia.com. Go there quick like a bunny, 11 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Pacific, every Wednesday. Live and direct on the SHR Media Network. shrmedia.com. Be there.
Hey, this is Michael Wright.
And I'm Shannon Wright.
Join us for The Right Way with Shannon and Mike, Monday through Thursday from 7 to 9 a.m. right here on SHR Media.
Why are they joining us?
for fun things like sports, politics.
Oh, maybe some news and entertainment?
And all kinds of other things.
Money and recipes and events, all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, so join us Monday through Thursday, 7 to 9 a.m. here on SHRmedia.com.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
And we're back. We are back. You're listening to The Shat Show. It's the Sackheads Against Tyranny. This is the very first hour. We had some great audio of the crazy Democrat Socialist Convention that occurred in all places, Georgia, earlier this week. I think it was on the weekend. And it's like, these assholes can't even get out of their own way, much less attempt to be organized in any fashion. Now, I love stuff like that. I absolutely love stuff like that. Okay, this is another cut, and it requires a little bit of a setup. This is MSNBC. I originally said last night that it was CNN. I didn't have the full cut, and the cut that I had was not as good as this one. So this audio is better. This is a guy. This is MSNBC talking to a former assistant director of the FBI for counterintelligence. The guy's name is Frank Figliuzzi. And on Monday...
he's counterintelligence.
Counterintelligence.
Which makes sense, because he's the opposite of intelligence.
Of intelligence,
yeah.
Right.
And how do you counter intelligence?
Well,
with stupidity.
Yes.
So that makes sense. Okay.
And I tried to explain it to CLINT, and I got the CPL. I got what I consider to be the CPL. And folks, if you don't know what the CPL is, if you're watching on video, I will illustrate. The CPL is what I call the canine puzzlement look. Because if you've had a dog, haven't you had your dog at one point when you're addressing your dog do this? Your dog will look at you and go, right?
Yes.
Isn't that the CPO? The
Yes.
canine puzzlement look?
It is. It is.
And thank God CLINT proffered the CPL when I told him what this was. So this is an actual guy who says and apparently did work for the FBI. And this is how off the wall and off the charts this crap is going. It's just, I don't know. We can talk about it when I get through, but it's just, where will it stop? Oh, I'm sorry. This is
not proud.
This is Brian Williams.
He made 5 days ago. Frank Figliuzzi, the former FBI assistant director for counterintelligence, wrote the following in an op-ed in the New York Times, and we quote, "Instinct and experience tell me we're headed for trouble in the form of white hate violence stoked by a racially divisive president."
Okay, stop right there. Everybody understands what's going on. Because of Dayton, because of El Paso, and I'm sure you can pack Gilroy into that as well. The leftist memes are nothing but President Trump is a white supremacist, and it's all about Charlottesville. I played, folks, a full half hour about what Trump actually said in Charlottesville, and it didn't have a thing to do with white supremacism. So you understand the meme. You understand what he's trying to say. Let's continue with the lovely...
He has chosen a re-election strategy based on appealing to the kinds of hatred, fear, and ignorance that can lead to violence. And once again tonight, we have Frank Figliuzzi back on our broadcast. Frank, what were the...
This podcast is sponsored by Talkspace. You know when you're really stressed or not feeling so great about your life or about yourself? Talking to someone who understands can really help. But who is that person? How do you find them? Where do you even start? Talkspace. Talkspace makes it easy to get the support you need. With Talkspace, you can go online, answer a few questions about your preferences, and be matched with a therapist. And because you'll meet your therapist online, you don't have to take time off work or arrange childcare. You'll meet on your schedule, wherever you feel most at ease. If you're depressed, stressed, struggling with a relationship, or if you want some counseling for you and your partner, or just need a little extra one-on-one support, TalkSpace is here for you. Plus, TalkSpace works with most major insurers, and most insured members have a $0 copay. No insurance? No problem. Now get $80 off of your first month with promo code SPACE80 when you go to TalkSpace.com. Match with a licensed therapist today at TalkSpace.com. Save $80 with code SPACE80 at TalkSpace.com.
And how do we know how to navigate this tomorrow and the next day? This starts becoming the definition of terrorism when people develop anxiety about what should be free-flowing public places.
Stop right now. When did being anxious, folks, Clint, when was that of concern to any fucking buddy? When did anybody care if you were anxious? Life is full of anxiety, GTFOI.
Well, the Democratic Socialist dude, did you not hear those last clips that you played? It's
true.
Not doing well for his anxiety.
That's true.
Right?
Okay, good point.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Exactly right. The definition of terrorism is conduct designed to coerce or intimidate the civilian population. And if we
like Antifa, right?
No.
Don't take action quickly, then that will continue to play out. I have a piece out just tonight in the New York Times on what sadly I think is going to happen next if we don't disrupt the chain of radicalization. What were the warning signs for me, Brian? Ironically, they weren't from my experience in domestic terrorism, but rather they were from my experience in international terrorism and radicalization to Islamic Jihad. You see the same things happen.
Okay, so this guy is beginning to compare Trump to Islamic Jihad. If you think that's fucking crazy, just wait.
Happening now in white hate groups and white supremacy groups, where not only is the internet facilitating the speed of radicalization, but our leader, our chief executive, is seen as almost a mentor and a radicalizer. And unfortunately, today we did not hear what we needed to hear from that person that these extremists and unstable people look to. He spoke in the passive voice, in the collective voice. We didn't hear first person from him. We didn't hear, I condemn white hate ideology. We heard the nation must condemn it. Well, the nation does condemn it.
Okay, stop right there. I want to make this point. If there's one thing that we know is a commonality with Trump, is he's not Obama.
Yes.
And all through the Obama years, what did we hear from Obama? I, me,
yes.
I. So when Trump speaks to the nation, he talks about us. He talks about we. He talks about us as a whole, as a nation, together. So that's what Trump does.
Yep.
It's not all about him, as it's all about Obama. So strike one, you moron. Let's continue.
Well, it's counterintelligence.
But we didn't hear what we needed to hear. So what happens is the extremists interpret what the president read off a script today as something he needed to say, something he didn't really want to say. So the president's either getting really good advice and rejecting it, or he's getting
Trump didn't want to say this. Okay, when was the last time anyone thinks that Trump was forced to do something by anyone else? When do you think that was?
Never.
52, 53.
I'm going to say when he was like 6
or 7 years old.
Maybe.
Yeah. Okay. Strike two.
Really bad advice. And I'll give you an example of that. We have to understand the adversary and the threat we're dealing with. And if we don't understand how they think, we'll never understand how to counter them.
By the way, folks, that's why I'm playing this asshole, because you need to understand how fucktards like this think.
It's little things and language and messaging that matters. The president said that we will fly our flags at half-mast until August 8th. That's 8/8. Now, I'm not going to imply that he did this deliberately, but I am using it as an example of the ignorance of the adversary that's being demonstrated by the White House. The numbers 8/8 are very significant in neo-Nazi and white supremacy movement. Why? Because the letter H is the 8th letter of the alphabet, and to them, the numbers 8/8 together stand for Heil Hitler. So we're going to be raising the flag back up at dusk on 8/8.
On according to this guy, on Heil Hitler Day.
Yes.
Are you fucking kidding me?
BZ, now hang on just a second here. Hang on just a second.
Folks, I have to tell you, for the rest of this show, because I've had a day today, you may hear some poo-poo nasties.
Listen, I have to say something here for a minute. This is important. This man just uncovered something huge.
Okay. That makes me wonder where you're going.
What? Not why?
Where are you going?
He has identified that Donald Trump wants to raise the flags on 8/8 for Hail Hitler, correct?
On Heil Hitler Day.
Heil Hitler Day.
Right.
Which is what 8/8 is.
Right.
And obviously every neo-Nazi knows that.
Right. Everybody knows that August 8th is Heil Hitler Day.
So,
it's been Heil Hitler Day since, 1939.
Listen.
The Beer Hall Putsch.
So here's what we need to do. Look, we already know that we have to get rid of racism in our culture. We have to rid our society of statues of Thomas Jefferson,
right?
George Washington.
Oh, my God, yes.
Robert E. Lee.
Oh, evil.
Any reference to the Civil
any of the
War.
Damn founding fathers. All those
them.
Stupid Adams.
Any of them. So what we need to do now is we need to fundamentally transform our calendar.
God, that damn Dolly Madison.
We need to, just like hotels do, they take out the 13th floor, goes from 12 to 14.
Right.
I move that Congress passes a law that we remove 8/8 from all calendars. I believe we go, it's not a mathematical issue. We just go straight from August 7th to August 9th. Correct. And then from August 31st to August 32nd.
Wait, I think you've hit it. You have hit it. That's a brilliant idea.
Thank you. You know what? Finally it clicks.
I know.
It finally
Folks,
clicks.
Remember, you heard it here first. Because this is a brewing cauldron of ideas, mostly from my friend across from me, Sackheads CLINT. Remember the idea that you had if Trump decides that he's going to go third party and people pick that stuff up and they ran with it? You've given any number of great ideas and suggestions to the state of California. And so, folks, right?
I have.
Right? You have.
I have.
You have.
I think somebody's listening.
I'm not making this stuff up.
You heard it here first.
So remember, folks, you heard it here first. 8/8 is on its way out.
Yes, no longer 8/8.
As it should be, don't you think?
Absolutely. We can't have that kind of hate in our calendar system.
No, hell no. No hate.
No one's thinking about this. No one's giving him the advice, or he's rejecting the advice. So understand your adversary to counter the adversary.
This podcast is sponsored by Talkspace. You know when you're really stressed or not feeling so great about your life or about yourself? Talking to someone who understands can really help. But who is that person? How do you find them? Where do you even start? Talkspace. Talkspace makes it easy to get the support you need. With Talkspace, you can go online, answer a few questions about your preferences, and be matched with a therapist. And because you'll meet your therapist online, you don't have to take time off work or arrange childcare. You'll meet on your schedule, wherever you feel most at ease. If you're depressed, stressed, struggling with a relationship, or if you want some counseling for you and your partner, or just need a little extra one-on-one support, Talkspace is here for you. Plus, Talkspace works with most major insurers, and most insured members have a $0 copay. No insurance? No problem. Now get $80 off of your first month with promo code SPACE80 when you go to Talkspace.com. Match with a licensed therapist today at Talkspace.com. Save $80 with code SPACE80 at Talkspace.com.
I know you're keeping your options open there, Frank, but as chilling as that is to hear, you're saying it is possible that someone who knows better is authoring or editing the words that show up and are read verbatim or are supposed to be read verbatim by the president.
Huh?
That's what this guy's trying to process,
I'm
that
about
question.
Who is writing his script and his speeches, and what would fascinate me is what he's rejecting. So it's possible that several iterations of this speech were given to him, someone with expertise, and believe me, the expertise expertise exists in our
Expertise?
intelligence community.
He can't say that.
I know.
Community
That's bad.
And our civilian
Yeah.
population
I
on
get
how
to
to
say the bad
counter
words today.
radicalization.
Yeah.
So those folks could have advised him on writing an excellent speech that would have created an obstacle on this path to violence that we're on. But he either chose to not take that advice, or he's not even willing to
This guy's a
solicit the
dickhead.
advice.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC.
Okay, shut up.
Yeah.
But is that not one of the most stultifyingly, brain-glazingly stupid
Yes.
things that you've heard in quite some time? This is incredible. Okay, I came across this too. This is another audio cut that I was going to play tomorrow night on my show, but I want to play it now so that you people understand. This is back from the 50s. This is back from the playbook in the 1950s. Check this out.
In 1943, the following directive was issued from party headquarters to all communists in the United States. It read, "When certain obstructionists become too irritating, label them after suitable buildups as fascist or Nazi or anti-Semitic, and use the prestige of anti-fascist and tolerance organizations to discredit them. In the public mind, constantly associate those who oppose us with those names which already have a bad smell. The association will, after enough repetition, become fact in the public mind."
Now, who does that sound like? The repetition part. Sound anything like Joseph Goebbels to you? Because
yeah.
it sure does to me.
Mm-hmm.
Just, you can't write this stuff. I was listening to Tucker Carlson tonight.
You were listening to Tucker Carlson tonight?
Tonight.
Or you were listening to Tucker Carlson tonight yesterday?
No, I was listening to Tucker Carlson tonight.
Got it.
Before I got here.
Got it.
And you mentioned this too, sir. What did you say?
First of all, you heard it here first. But there was a mention of civil war. About just the rhetoric and where we are in terms of division for the country and so forth, and ultimately potentially leading to civil war.
And the leftists are going to continue to push and push and push. And I think, at least 2 more audio cuts that I want people to listen to. We got about another 10 minutes. This is on Morning Joe. And this is Joe Scarborough, but this vomitous material is coming out of...
Did you hear him say that tonight? Tonight? Carlson tonight? Last night?
I have a brief audio cut from that.
Is it about that?
What I'm going to play is part of it.
Okay.
Is part of it. But this is the original sound cut from Mika Brzezinski on Morning Joe. I think this is from August 6th, if I'm not mistaken.
There are a lot of things he can do.
But he won't. And so you have to ask the question, Joe. And I'll ask you. Isn't it okay to deduce that at this point, this is what he wants? He is inciting hatred, inciting violence,
Trump.
inciting racism. If he doesn't unequivocally call it off and say this is wrong, and we...
Call what off? Call what off?
Yeah.
Clint, what? What?
I don't know.
Denounced. How many fucking times does President Trump have to denounce racism before these fucktards get it?
They never will. They hate him.
Purposely. Listen, folks, yes. Black Americans, I've talked to tons of folks on my show on Tuesday and Thursday. They mean nothing to the leftists and the Democrats. They would rather see, leftists and Democrats, I'm speaking of, would rather see this nation go down in flames than credit any win whatsoever, the slightest win, to OMB. That's what this is all about.
It is, but you know what's interesting, BZ, is there was I can't think of the gentleman's name right now.
Is he really a gentleman who you're going to name?
Yeah. No, he's the founder of BET, Black Entertainment Television.
Okay, I know who you're talking about.
And he was actually on, and I can't remember what show it is right now either. I'd have to look and try and pull up the article. But he actually talked about, and he's been a Democratic donor forever. And he was talking about how under Donald Trump, the African American community has actually done well economically. So he'll call it fair in that he gives the president credit for the economic success of the minority populations in the United States. So I think that's out there. I think that
they're out there.
The American people, and I think the minority community that feels the difference, I think they understand where the difference is coming from, particularly if you have somebody such as the founder of BET out there saying it, because people listen to him. I would assume. I mean, he's on the talk shows and so forth. So I don't think it's going to be as close an election, at least at this point. I don't think it's going to be as close an election as people are saying.
That's interesting, because you and I were talking about this before the beginning of the show.
Yeah, I honestly think, and I have heard people saying, "Oh, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. It's going to be." I don't think so. I think as of right now, I think that Donald Trump and his economic record in particular, I think people think he's an asshole.
There are things that he's written and said that I don't care for.
No, exactly, and that's my point, right? But you look at actions or deeds, not
deeds,
words,
not
right?
words. Yes,
you look at what he's done, and how do you feel now? How is your paycheck now? What is your situation now? And unless you're in California, Oregon, Washington.
I'm in California. I'm retired. I got a $200 a month increase in my retirement check.
What I'm saying is, when those states aren't going to give a shit and they're going to go for insert liberal, Democrat, whatever.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of the nation, I think Trump is going to have a larger electoral win this time around. And I say that again because I think people really feel the difference. And you have people like we just mentioned, the founder, and I wish I could think of his name right now because I don't like referring to him and not being able to say his name, but talking about how Trump has positively impacted, economically speaking, the minority communities. And you can't have and that's the problem why you don't hear anybody talking about that.
Robert L. Johnson.
Okay. So do you know the segment I was talking about?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you cannot have a narrative of racism and then have somebody from your own party going out saying how the minority community is actually doing better under this president than ever before.
Lowest unemployment for Hispanics. Boom. Lowest unemployment for blacks. Boom.
Yeah. Better wages.
In 2018, true in 2019.
Yes. And better wages. Not just the lowest unemployment rate among those groups, better wages among those groups. Better paying jobs among those groups.
This is interesting. Kaiser in chat said, do you remember the guy named Zbigniew Brzezinski? He was in politics. I didn't connect it, but Kaiser said, by the way, the chick Mika Brzezinski, that's Zbignew's daughter. I didn't know that. I want her to finish what she was saying.
Stand together against this, and we are doing this, and this to help fight hate crime. I mean, this is a president who seems to want these things to happen.
But there are a lot of things he can do.
She just said that as far as she's concerned, President Trump wants Americans killed in the streets. AYFKM, as I write in social media. Are you fucking kidding me? This is how off the charts, off the wall, these people have become.
Mm-hmm.
You continue like this, and as Tucker Carlson said, what are you left with? You're left with trying to talk to or about or try to convince people to stop with the rhetoric? I have another audio cut. This is like a minute and 10 minutes, a minute and 10 seconds. But let's go back and look at the history of the advocation of violence
from the left.
From people on the left. Big people on the left. People that you're going to immediately recognize.
To win back the House and or the Senate. That's when civility can start again. But until then, the only thing that the Republicans seem to recognize and respect is strength. And
when they go low, we kick them.
Eric Holder.
And if you see anybody in a restaurant, in a department store, at a gasoline station, you get out and you create a crowd. And you push back on them.
Mad
and
Man.
you tell them they're not welcome.
I just don't even know why there aren't uprisings all over the country. Maybe there will be.
Protesters knocking on the door for Kavanaugh.
You cannot be civil with a political party that wants to destroy what you stand for, what you care about.
Get up and please,
Cory Booker,
get up in the face of some Congress people.
Is this the quote-unquote mob?
Michelle says that, when they go low, we go high. No. When they go low, we kick them.
But see, that's okay. That's just
okay.
Fine.
Yep.
Never bring up any of that stuff. That's peachy. That's perfectly acceptable. That's great. That's fabulous. I'm looking for...
Did you want that Tucker Carlson clip?
Another audio cut. Yeah, Tucker Carlson came on, and this is part of what he said tonight in response to how crazy this is all getting. Mm-hmm. And after this, we're going to have to take a break, and we'll be right back after Tucker. But this is Tucker Carlson.
So we want to take a second to pass on a sincere message to official Washington, and particularly to our colleagues on the other cable news channels. And it's this. Please, for the sake of the nation, calm down. Yes, America has problems. Yes, racism is one of America's problems. But so is a fading middle class. So is a terrifying drug epidemic that's killed hundreds of thousands of Americans. So is a national debt that is growing by $1 trillion a year.
I want to address that when we come back also, because you were talking about how Trump can win in 2020. I'd like to address that when we come back.
These are huge problems, and people know that. People know their country is in decline. And it's making them turn to new political leaders. Donald Trump was one of those new leaders. Elizabeth Warren and Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez are a couple of others. This is a time of frustration, and it's a time of change. It's a hard time for America. But this country is not on the brink of genocide. It's not even close to that. This is not a white supremacist country plotting the slaughter of its own people. It's a kind country full of decent people of all races who, like all people everywhere, make bad decisions from time to time, but they mean well and they generally try their best. So going forward, give them the benefit of the doubt, even when you disagree with them, maybe especially when you disagree with them. These are your fellow Americans. Cut them a break. They deserve it. And remember, the alternative is disaster.
Yeah, and that's what I was referring to. What's the alternative? The alternative to that is a civil war.
And that's not in that cut.
No.
But you heard it, and that's what he was saying, that it could potentially lead to. These people do not...
That's what I think he's saying.
These people do not know when to stop.
They don't.
So...
well, and it's the communists specifically, right? What do communists do? How do communists come into power? How did they come into power in Cuba? How did they come into power in Russia? How do communists come into power? They do it through violent revolution. Che Guevara is a hero to these people.
This podcast is sponsored by Talkspace. You know when you're really stressed or not feeling so great about your life or about yourself? Talking to someone who understands can really help. But who is that person? How do you find them? Where do you even start? Talkspace. Talkspace makes it easy to get the support you need. With Talkspace, you can go online, answer a few questions about your preferences, and be matched with a therapist. And because you'll meet your therapist online, you don't have to take time off work or arrange childcare. You'll meet on your schedule, wherever you feel most at ease. If you're depressed, stressed, struggling with a relationship, or if you want some counseling for you and your partner, or just need a little extra one-on-one support, Talkspace is here for you. Plus, Talkspace works with most major insurers, and most insured members have a $0 copay. No insurance? No problem. Now get $80 off of your first month with promo code SPACE80 when you go to Talkspace.com. Match with a licensed therapist today at Talkspace.com. Save $80 with code SPACE80 at Talkspace.com.
I have a great article. It's over there. I might access it a little bit later.
Yeah.
Folks, we're going to go
we're up against a break right now.
Yeah, we're going to go to a break, and we'll be right back after this. There's so much more to talk about. My God, we haven't even gotten into the shootings yet. So don't go anywhere. It's the Sackheads.
We may not need to. They're talked about all over the place.
Well, that's true. We can address it peripherally, but because we have so much.
We need to talk about
the
Dayton one for sure. Because that one, there's a reason you're not hearing much about that one. And we'll get into that.
And we'll
get into that after this word from our sponsors.
Won't we?
Conservative media.
How'd I do?
Done
Very
right.
Good.
Is that good?
Nice.
You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
For 50 years, I've seen the American people blinded by corrupt politicians, a lapdog media, and deceptive Islam. The one thing the elites fear is one man with a cane. I'm Dave Milner. Join me through Spreaker, iTunes, and SoundCloud, through SHR Media and the Western Free Radio Network, for half a century of experienced perspective on political and social issues, weekly on The Unpleasant Blind Guy. And catch me on Jeff Mitchell's EDL Radio on blogtalkradio.com. There's
no surrender, ever.
Because truth is not always pleasant.
It's your business diva here, Melanie Collette. I am inviting you to a front row seat as I discuss some of the most intriguing details of wealth and finance with today's movers and shakers in the world of business. Listen in and discover financial truths on a global, domestic, and household scale. Uncover topics that will impact your wallet today and in the future. Money Talk with Melanie airs Monday through Friday, 5 p.m. East, 2 p.m. West, right here on SHR Media and High Plains Pundit Talk Radio. You can't afford to miss it.
From a public locker inside a dilapidated Long Island rail station comes a show designed to piss off liberals using truth, facts, and ridicule. The Lid Radio Show, featuring the conservative voice from the People's Republic of New York, the Lid himself, Jeff Dunitz. Tune in every Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific on the SHR Media Network. Go to shrmedia.com. At Lid Radio, we fight for the truth, justice, and a good kosher T-bone. If you don't listen, Hillary Clinton might sneak into your bedroom in her housecoat late at night and blame you for her election loss. It's the Lid Radio Show with Jeff Dunitz.
Hey girls, Carry Girl Gear is here. More and more women every day are concealed carrying, participating in competitive shooting, and getting firearms training. It's not a boys' club anymore, and we don't have to shop in their stores anymore either. Finally, a cool and unique clothing line just for women. Dope tees and hats for the patriotic concealed carry and 2A girl. So what are you waiting for? Go check out carrygirlgear.com today.
Broadcasting behind enemy lines in occupied California, a mere 2 miles from the state capitol, the bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon radio show can be heard every Tuesday and Thursday night at 8 p.m. Pacific and 11 p.m. Eastern. Only on the SHR Media Network. Go to shrmedia.com to listen. You can also watch on the SHR Media Facebook page and the SHR Media YouTube channel. No goldfish were abused in the making of this ad.
Show on the SHR Media Network, Sackheads Against Tyranny. on shrmedia.com. Go there quick like a bunny, 11 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Pacific every Wednesday. Live and direct on the SHR Media Network. shrmedia.com. Be there.
Hey, this is Michael Wright.
And I'm Shannon Wright.
Join us for The Right Way with Shannon and Mike, Monday through Thursday from 7 to 9 a.m. right here on SHR Media.
Why are they joining us?
For fun things like sports, politics.
Oh, maybe some news and entertainment?
And all kinds of other things.
Money and recipes and events, all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, so join us Monday through Thursday, 7 to 9 a.m. here on shrmedia.com.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
And we're back. There we are. We are in fact back. Fat back. Did I say fat back?
You said fat back.
We are in fat back. What I meant to say was we are in fact back.
Yeah, not back fat.
Unless I was referring to BZ's own personal.
No. Stop talking that way about my friend BZ.
Back fat. We are in fat back with a back fat. Okay, I've managed to screw that one up bigly. I've screwed it up bigly. We talk about a lot of stuff on the break, folks. And I think I've got let's see if I can find it. I've got an audio cut from
Well, I'm gonna go. I just want to address something real quick about this Trump is a racist, since we've been going on that.
Right.
Well, I think it was a week from Monday, so a week and a half ago, whatever. Trump met with African American faith leaders at the White House. And one of those faith leaders was Dr. Alveda King, who is the niece of Dr. Martin Luther King.
Correct.
And there were about 20 of the faith leaders, I believe, were present at this meeting at the White House. And Dr. King actually talked about, on Fox and Friends, talked about the meeting. And here's what she said. And again, we've been talking ad nauseum for the last 30 minutes or so about how Trump is a white nationalist. Not us, but that's
evil.
that's
a white supremacist.
Yeah, that's the charge that's going out against him now. But what she said is what she told Fox and Friends. She said, quote, "The president spent a long time with us, and the meeting was not a photo op. He's not a racist, absolutely is not. And the programs he has moved forward, the higher job market is helping African Americans. The criminal justice reform is helping African Americans." So here you have the niece of Dr. Martin LutherKing. I'm pretty sure
she probably knows something about civil rights.
Yes, and about racists and racism.
And the true meaning of what Martin Luther King Jr. really was saying.
Fighting for.
I would guess she'd have a pretty decent grasp of that, wouldn't you think?
And what he was fighting for. So it's interesting to me how you don't see how many places have you seen that story?
Let's see. Just now, because you mentioned it.
Right. So that's the kind of stuff that should be out there more. The mainstream media, the lamestream media, as you call it, or as other people, they're not going to push that out. But I at least want the folks that listen to us to know that this is what happened, and this is the perspective of Martin Luther King, Dr. Martin Luther King's niece, Dr. Alveda King. And look, it's you can search that, you can search the meeting, you can pull it up, and hey, if maybe we can start our own grassroots effort in terms of setting the record straight out there. And I think that enough Americans don't believe the bullshit, and I think most America is tired of this. I think that's why the ratings for some of those other networks is in the tank. I think that I really believe that
Here's-
there is a segment, a good portion of America that's just tired of the bullshit.
Here's an interesting factoid. Following the Mueller hearing, where he got up in front of two separate committees, the numbers on Rachel Maddow went down in one night and have not recovered since. 25%.
Yeah, I didn't even
in
think,
one night.
I didn't even think her numbers could go down.
And she's a little bit below the new cable channel, which is 24 hours Tibetan bell ringing. So she's in contention. The Tibetan bell ringing channel and Rachel Maddow are back and forth.
Is she going to last long? Or yes, because she has the ideology. So they're like,
yeah,
whatever.
she may last. Yeah, well, not she will. We know she will. Very quickly, I've got about a minute and a half cut that I'd like to play. Did you know, folks, that yesterday was an anniversary of this? This is an old newsreel. This is President Truman.
There can be no peace in the world until the military power of Japan is destroyed, with the same completeness as was the power of the European dictators. To do that, we are now engaged in a process of deploying millions of our armed forces against Japan in a mass movement of troops and supplies and weapons over 14,000 miles. A military and naval feat unequaled in all history. Substantial portions of Japan's key industrial centers have been leveled to the ground in a series of record incendiary raids. What has already happened to Tokyo will happen to every Japanese city whose industries feed the Japanese war machine.
Now, that's very interesting. With an exception. That was the warning. Then came the actual announcement.
An American airplane dropped one bomb on Hiroshima and destroyed its usefulness to the enemy. That bomb has more power than 20,000 tons of TNT. The Japanese began the war from the air at Pearl Harbor. They have been repaid many-fold, and the end is not yet. With this bomb, we have now added a new and revolutionary increase in destruction to supplement the growing power of our armed forces. In their present form, these bombs are now in production, and even more powerful forms are in development. It is an atomic bomb. It is a harnessing of the basic power of the universe. The force from which the sun draws its power has been loosed against those who brought war to the Far East. We have spent more than $2 billion on the greatest scientific gamble in history, and we have won. But the greatest marvel is not the size of the enterprise, its secrecy, or its cost, but the achievement of scientific brains in making it work.
Here's what Harry Truman, a Democrat, had to think about. The military had already done a number of prognostications, and they essentially war-gamed this out. And they believed that when we invaded Japan, because of all the island hopping led eventually to Japan, that we would lose. And here's the other thing you have to think of in terms of logistics. We'd already won in Europe. We were trying to win in Japan. Somehow, all of those soldiers, war-weary as they were from Europe, would have to be transported all the way from Europe over to Japan for the invasion. With all of the allies, they were saying that it was thought up to 1 million soldiers would be killed trying to invade mainland Japan because the Japanese would not give up.
Mm-hmm.
So with that, and people, they've excoriated Truman from one side up and the other. You sacrifice millions of soldiers or you drop one bomb. Now, $2 billion in 1945 dollars, that's an assload of cash.
Yeah, and look.
But do you sacrifice your people?
No.
Or you drop a bomb?
Yeah, look, absolutely not. War is horrible. War is horrible. Yeah, that doesn't even need to be qualified. But when it comes down to us or them, if there is no peace, if you have an adversary who will not stop fighting, who is going to continue to kill your people, who's going to continue to kill American lives, now the choice becomes: do I save American lives by killing X number of Japanese lives, understanding that there's innocent people there
and allies
and allies? Do you at what point is that government making the choices for those people? And I think as difficult as that decision, I would imagine, I've never had to make a decision that big, obviously. I don't know if any other president has had to make a decision that big. I couldn't imagine a larger decision to unleash the power of a nuclear bomb upon a city where you know that there are innocent civilians. I could only imagine the stress and the thought and everything that went into that.
Yeah,
I couldn't even begin to comprehend that. I don't think anybody, unless you've been in that situation, could begin to comprehend the gravity of that. But when it comes down to, are we talking about 1 million American lives versus how many Japanese lives, and we drop 1 to about however many it takes, if we can defeat the enemy, which we had to do. Japan was not going to give up. They were not going to stop.
They knew that it would be hand-to-hand fighting.
We couldn't hold
in every city.
We couldn't hold and just let them be on their island, and that wasn't an option. They had to be defeated. So do you do that, or do you sit back and you fly an airplane over and you drop bombs? And look, as horrible the thought is, at what price do you have to protect your people? I mean, you can drop 25 atomic bombs, and ultimately it's the Japanese refusal to surrender, to come to the peace table, to sign the peace treaty, that is forcing the hand of the Americans to make that decision.
You got to remember that the continuous firebombing of all of those Japanese cities by hordes of B-29s flying off Saipan almost continuously, so many bombs that it was like the firebombing of Dresden, only on an island. And that didn't convince them to stop.
Mm-hmm.
And they knew it wouldn't. And it knew they wouldn't, unless somehow they managed to get the emperor at the time, Hirohito, to say, that's it, we stop. An amazing, amazing decision. Okay, I just had to throw that in there. Because I know you like history, and I like history.
I do. We like history.
We like history. We're talking about leftists, and I know you want to talk about a certain individual. We've been talking about violence. We've been talking about things that you don't hear, and that's one of the reasons that we are here, is to provide the information in terms of audio and in terms of stories to you about certain things. Here's something else, by the way. Anybody remember?
I know that this is a time of
Loretta
fear
Lynch?
and uncertainty for so many people. I know it's a time of concern for people who see our rights being assailed, being trampled on, and even being rolled back.
Stop. This, I believe, is the instigation for the greenlighting of Antifa right here. It came from Loretta Lynch. What if you had any other AG speak these words? Listen.
I know that this is a time of great fear and uncertainty for so many people. I know it's a time of concern for people who see our rights being assailed, being trampled on, and even being rolled back. I know that this is difficult, but I remind you that this has never been easy. We have always had to work to move this country forward to achieve the great ideals of our founding fathers. And it has been people, individuals who have banded together, ordinary people who simply saw what needed to be done and came together and supported those ideals, who have made the difference. They've marched, they've bled. Yes, some of them have died. This is hard. Every good thing is. We have done this before, we can do this again.
That was a talking point from the United States Senate Democrats. Okay, now let's transition over into Gilroy, El Paso, and Dayton, Ohio. And we've heard all about this heinous white supremacist in El Paso. He had a manifesto. Folks, historically, because this is a bit of history again, where did the word manifesto first become linked to a criminal? Hands? Anybody? Chat? Anybody in chat? Clint?
The Unabomber.
The Unabomber. That's correct.
Whoa. Where's my fucking bell?
Oh, wait. Okay, let me go back.
Thank you.
Clint?
Yes.
Your answer?
The Unabomber.
Absolutely correct.
Thank you.
So now, this guy, who I will not name, has his own manifesto. And he's evil. He's a white supremacist. That's what you've heard trumpeted 24/7.
I see what you did there. I see what you did there.
Did you?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Yes.
Wait a minute.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, 2 in a row. But what aren't we hearing, Sackheads Clint?
About Dayton.
Wait. Why wouldn't we hear about Dayton? He's another mass shooter. Why wouldn't we hear about him? Continuously trumpeted 24/7. 24/7. Okay, twice.
Because he's a leftist.
What?
He was a leftist. The Dayton shooter was a leftist.
He was
a leftist.
Wow. Do you have any information to back that up? You better back that up. You better back up that car wash thing.
You mean other than his social media history and his own words?
Right. And
you mean other than that?
Yeah, right. And that he was an Antifa supporter. Imagine that. And because we're all talking about the El Paso dude.
Yeah. And look, to be clear, we're not trying to shift gears here because we think that any one of these guys, these people are all sick. These people are all evil. The people that commit these types of mass killings, rapid mass murder events, active killing attacks, they're all fucking cowards. Every single one of them.
Right. Because what invariably they do.
They kill themselves.
They kill themselves when they're confronted with actual force. They either kill themselves or surrender immediately.
Yes, they do. They're fucking cowards.
They are cowards.
And they're evil. Absolutely. The SHR Media, Sackhead Clint, Sackhead BZ, I will speak for you on this because I know your view on this. We absolutely abhor violence. We absolutely think that's fucking bullshit. Not tolerated or condoned at all.
But we also believe in exposing the truth.
Yes, we do.
Every side.
Yes, we do. So if they're going to call out the one who's a Nazi racist piece of shit, we're going to also call out the leftist piece of shit.
Yes. And it's only right.
And it's only right.
And
absolutely.
The American media maggots are purposely covering that so that you don't hear about that because that doesn't fulfill their goals.
I believe so. But in one of the Dayton killers' tweets, because you're not going to hear about this, so we'll tell you, he said that he would, quote unquote, happily vote for Senator Warren.
Oh, yeah. It's interesting.
Who is a
massive leftist.
Communist.
Oh, and a liar.
Yes.
And a cultural appropriator.
Cultural appropriator. Yeah.
Now, this is interesting, and Alaskan in chat makes a very good point. The El Paso shooter is alive.
Mm-hmm.
The Dayton shooter is dead.
Yes.
That's also kind of interesting, too.
Oh, they killed leftist. And left. That is President Trump's fault.
Oh!
They saved the white nationalist.
Yeah. God, oh my
and
God.
killed the lefty.
See, for all the people on the left that are listening to the show, you, Sackheads CLINT, just provided an assload of fodder just for them. So leftists, I expect to see no later than noon tomorrow. At least a new article.
Yes, at least one.
Quoting Sackheads CLINT.
Yep.
And acknowledging him for that slant on the article that you're going to be writing probably in the next half hour.
Yeah, thank you. Because I think it is absolutely...
Attributions. You need attributions.
I do. That is
an original idea.
That is absolutely ridiculous that they would save a white nationalist, a white nationalist racist with a manifesto and execute the poor defenseless
leftist Antifa supporter.
By the way, here's how this leftist described himself on his Twitter profile. Quote, he/him/anime fan/metalhead/leftist/ I'm going to hell and I'm not coming back.
Okay. That's true.
Yeah.
He didn't need to die. He didn't need to die, did he? Nah, of course not.
Nope. And he wrote, vote blue, for God's sake.
Well,
God has a little G.
Okay, good.
Yes.
Because you sent a quiver of fear into my heart, thinking that, wait a minute, what is he mentioning? God, no. Okay, but if you
little
said...
G.
Okay, now I feel better.
Yeah, it's a figure of speech, not an actual reference to deity.
Okay, speaking of hypocrisy, from the Department of Hypocrisy Department, did you happen to see the story where Mexico vows to take legal action against the United States regarding the El Paso mass shooting because illegals from Mexico were killed by that guy? So Mexico plans to sue the United States because they're illegal.
Where?
In court.
In what court?
Probably the International Court of International Courts.
Then the U.S. needs to tell them to go eat a big fat one.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah. Or as we like to say here in the on the show, eat a bag of dicks.
Yeah. A whole bag of them.
A big bag.
Just a big bag, like a sack.
Yeah, sack.
A sack of dicks.
Okay. When we come back, I'm going to do a little bit of a teaser here.
Yeah. Yeah, just a little bit. Just tease, just the tip.
Something.
What? What? No, the tip of the iceberg.
No, the tip.
Yeah, I know what you meant.
The tip of the tease.
The tip of the spear.
The tip of the spear. The tip of the tease. Yes.
Yes. What? I don't know why you laughed.
No. I
give him just the tip.
I'm trying to be jovial. That's why I laughed. I've had a great day. I've had a fabulous day.
We've had a great evening now, right?
We've had a great evening.
Great evening.
So to tease the next story, this is something that occurred at the New York Times. And I'm going to illustrate something that I believe we've inherently known about the New York Times.
Wait, let me guess.
What?
Let me guess.
Okay.
You said New York Times, and I think you dropped a hint with illustrate. They have a new comic strip coming out.
Guys, Clint. Okay, this is the Sackheads Against Tyranny. It's a real chat show. And thanks for everybody being in the chat room tonight. Whiskey Dale, Simone, the Alaskan, Mike. God, we had a ton more people.
This is not Clint.
This is not Clint. Kaiser. We've had a ton of people in the chat room, but it's late at night. And on the East Coast, it's 12:30. It's after midnight. It's tomorrow on the East Coast. So with that, the chat show will be right back after this. Right?
Yes.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Hey, this is Michael Wright.
And I'm Shannon Wright.
Join us for The Right Way with Shannon and Mike, Monday through Thursday from 7 to 9 a.m. right here on SHR Media.
Why are they joining us?
For fun things like sports, politics.
Oh, maybe some news and entertainment?
And all kinds of other things.
Money and recipes and events, all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, so join us Monday through Thursday, 7 to 9 a.m. here on SHRmedia.com.
From a public locker inside a dilapidated Long Island rail station comes a show designed to piss off liberals using truth, facts, and ridicule. The Lid Radio Show, featuring the conservative voice from the People's Republic of New York, the Lid himself, Jeff Dunitz. Tune in every Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific on the SHR Media Network. Go to shrmedia.com. At Lid Radio, we fight for the truth, justice, and a good kosher T-bone. If you don't listen, Hillary Clinton might sneak into your bedroom in her housecoat late at night and blame you for her election loss. It's the Lid Radio Show with Jeff Dunitz.
Hey girls, Carry Girl Gear is here. More and more women every day are concealed carrying, participating in competitive shooting, and getting firearms training. It's not a boys' club anymore, and we don't have to shop in their stores anymore either. Finally, a cool and unique clothing line just for women. Dope tees and hats for the patriotic concealed carry and 2A girl. So what are you waiting for? Go check out carrygirlgear.com today.
It's your business diva here, Melanie Collette. I am inviting you to a front row seat as I discuss some of the most intriguing details of wealth and finance with today's movers and shakers in the world of business. Listen in and discover financial truths on a global, domestic, and household scale. Uncover topics that will impact your wallet today and in the future. Money Talk with Melanie airs Monday through Friday, 5 p.m. East, 2 p.m. West, right here on SHR Media and High Plains Pundit Talk Radio. You can't afford to miss it.
The new show on the SHR Media Network, Sackheads Against Tyranny. On shrmedia.com. Go there quick like a bunny, 11 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Pacific, every Wednesday. Live and direct on the SHR Media Network. shrmedia.com. Be there.
For 50 years, I've seen the American people blinded by corrupt politicians, a lapdog media, and deceptive Islam. The one thing the elites fear is one man with a cane. I'm Dave Milner. Join me through Spreaker, iTunes, and SoundCloud, through SHR Media and the Western Free Radio Network, for half a century of experienced perspective on political and social issues, weekly on The Unpleasant Blind Guy. And catch me on Jeff Mitchell's EDL Radio on blogtalkradio.com. There's
no surrender, ever.
Because truth is not always pleasant.
Broadcasting behind enemy lines in occupied California, a mere 2 miles from the state capitol, the bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon radio show can be heard every Tuesday and Thursday night at 8 p.m. Pacific and 11 p.m. Eastern. Only on the SHR Media Network. Go to shrmedia.com to listen. You can also watch on the SHR Media Facebook page and the SHR Media YouTube channel. No goldfish were abused in the making of this ad. Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
And we're back. What do we call this? We call this the Final 25.
Final 25, yeah.
It's the final 25 minutes of the show. 2 hours packed in what seems to be like 5 minutes.
I was going to say 4, but 4, we'll go with 5.
All right. 5 minutes. 4 minutes. Something like that. Here's the article.
Move this camera right here because I do everything here.
That's a good idea. I was thinking about that
possible.
because I know if I can figure out how to move that clamp somewhere over there, some good solid area that I can put that clamp on, then I can raise that camera and it can mostly focus on you, like right in front of the screen there. I'll work on that.
Although I know why it's facing this angle.
Well, yeah, because that
backdrop,
little table thing is easier, and yeah, you'll get the backdrop of you'll see our door, you'll see our athletics yellow towel,
because I'm an athletic supporter,
and you'll see the watch, you'll see the clock,
Huh. All right, and some of our studio pictures,
right?
You and Larry Elder,
yeah, and a whole bunch of other. You're up there too.
I am.
You're up there.
Yeah,
You're in 1, 2, 3, 4 pictures.
Yeah, a couple.
You are. So here's an article from the New York Times. No, I'm sorry. This is an article from Mediaite. Which
about
the New York Times. And if there was ever a ridiculous news site or name of a URL is Mediaite. Mediaite. Oh, come on. You could have picked something better than that, Mediaite. But I found this very interesting. And it shows you, it continues to illustrate that the Democrats and leftists run the media. So when I've been saying this for quite some time, here's proof, if you needed it. From Mediaite, the headline is, New York Times changes the headline on the Trump shooting response after a social media blowback. Now, this occurred yesterday. The original headline, page 1 above the fold yesterday of the New York Times was, Trump urges unity versus racism. And that was a result of the speech that Trump gave. And so the editors at the New York Times believed that that was the most accurate depiction of what Trump said during the news conference. Trump urges unity versus racism, which is what happened.
It's true.
Then the tweets started.
So you're saying the New York Times actually spoke the truth?
Well, yes, they did. But chronologically, here's what happened. First, Senator Kirsten Gillibrand weighed in with a tweet to the New York Times, and all it said was, that's not what happened. Then Cory Booker weighed in to the New York Times and said, lives literally depend on your doing better, New York Times. Please do. And then Bill de Blasio weighed in, and he said in a tweet, hey, at New York Times, what happened to the truth is worth it, not the truth, not worth it. And then somebody named Tom Jolly, who I think is an employee with the New York Times, said, tomorrow's New York Times Tonight, second edition. Donald Trump assails hate but not guns. China employs currency and trade feud jolting markets. So it was changed. The headline was changed by the New York Times after pressure essentially from Democrat candidates, from Trump urges unity versus racism. Same article, same content, same material. The headline now reads, assailing hate, but not guns. Because the New York Times, the old gray lady herself, had to be slapped into line by leftists and then complied.
The old gray lady is senile.
Yes. And so, to whose tune is the New York Times jumping?
We know the answer to that.
We know the answer to that. But I bring this up simply as it couldn't be more clear than this.
More in your face. Yeah, and more in your face. You know,
because to me, it's obvious they don't care.
No, they don't. They're pushing an agenda, and it's interesting that I'm surprised they gave him credit for assailing hate. That's interesting, but not guns. He didn't attack guns. Guns are. It's always guns, and if it's a conservative that does the violence, it's always the hate, right? What they don't look at, and I know we were talking at break, and you brought up something that the killers had in common about the family life.
Right.
And
there was an article. Let me see if
And if I'm not mistaken, it was basically a breakdown of the family unit is where I'm guessing
Right.
that
of the 27 deadliest mass shooters, 26 of them had this one thing in common. And what was it?
Go ahead. I don't want to.
No males in the household. Fatherless boys.
Broken up families.
Well, and as
Right.
one person said last night that I talked about, boys are broken.
They are.
Boys are broken in today's society because they're fatherless. There's a guy named James Howard Kunstler, and I quoted him on Monday, I quoted him last night, and he's worth quoting now. And you tell me if you disagree with any of this. Just a mere 2 paragraphs, but I looked all over, and I could not find a summary from anyone, myself or anyone else that I looked at, better than what he wrote. I've always said the firearm is a tool. I've had the unique privilege, and I should say it's a privilege, of teaching officers about guns and cars, cars and guns. Those are the 2 deadliest venues for law enforcement officers anywhere. Guns and cars, cars and guns. It usually runs about 50%. I taught at EVOC, and I was the range master for the department. The gun is a tool. That's all it is. So in the intervening years from the 50s and the 60s, did the tool change or did society change? I insist that it is society that has changed. Now, this guy writes, this is exactly what you get in a culture where anything goes and nothing matters. Extract all the meaning and purpose from being here on Earth and erase as many boundaries as you can from custom and behavior, and watch what happens, especially amongst young men. No communities, no fathers, no mentors, no initiations into personal responsibility, no daily organizing principles, no instruction in useful trades, no productive activities, no opportunities for love and affection, and no way out. Amen, brother.
Yeah. Look, it's this type of violence is not new. There was the mass murder event. I believe it was the Enoch Brown schoolhouse killing during Pontiac's Rebellion in the colony of Pennsylvania. So we weren't even a country yet,
right?
And there were 9 school children and a schoolmaster were killed. Edged weapon attack. With I didn't believe there were two Indian braves, Native American braves, quote unquote. They were thrown out of the tribe. They were dealt with harshly by their tribe as a result, but they went into a school and committed this heinous act. So this type of violence is not new. However, with what we're seeing today, what has changed? I mean, did this stuff happen back in the 60s? Well, yes, Texas Tower event in 1969, right?
Right, Whitman.
Yes. So these acts have taken place in history, but to the level that we're seeing them today, and what has changed? I think you're right. There's been a fundamental shift in society. We have look at the difference between an R-rated movie 20 years ago and an R-rated movie today, or a PG movie,
or what you can pull off with under a PG guise these days.
Yeah, a PG movie 20 years ago versus a PG movie today. Look at the video game content that kids are playing. Look at the desocialization of kids and society as a whole, because everybody has their face in their phones. Nobody knows how to talk or interact in person. You look at the decline of morality, the decline of religion. And religion, I'm not saying any one religion necessarily. What I'm saying is, look, the decline of religion, giving people a sense of worth greater than self, supreme being, a higher power. Hollywood no longer produces shows. I was just having this conversation the other night. Name a television show or a movie that you last saw, because I can't think of one from even the last 10 years or so, where the cops were actually the good guys. And here's what I mean by that. Even in popular television shows and movies where you want the cops to win, the cops do shady shit. The cops walk the line. Sometimes they fall on this side of the line. Sometimes they fall on this side, the right side of the line, but they do it to catch the bad guy, so you root for them. But the cops really aren't clean. When is the last time you saw a cop show that depicted cops as the good guys, as truly the good guys?
I can think of 3.
Go.
And you correct me, especially about the one I'm going to mention.
Okay, go ahead.
That's a movie. The first 2 that came to my mind were TV shows. The first one, to me, this is a no-brainer. Chips.
Okay, I'm talking recently.
Oh, okay.
I'm talking
that's
within the last 10 years.
That's how far back I had to go
Yes.
before I could think of something. In Chips, did you ever see any of those officers pull a gun?
One episode, Bear pulled it when this redheaded kid jumps out of the back of the van with nunchucks, but he never fired a shot. Bear was the car cop.
He was the big dude. You're ahead of me on that one. And T.J. Hooker. I don't remember
T.J. Hooker.
Cops being bad in T.J. Hooker.
Car 54. Adam 12.
Oh, God. Yeah.
Right?
But that's how far back.
SWAT.
You're right.
Hill Street Blues.
That's how far back.
Right? That's how far back. Barney Miller.
Now, oh, God, I used to love Barney Miller.
I love Barney Miller, too.
That was so great.
But what about today?
Let me throw this out at you.
Go ahead.
Because this is the first movie... I don't know. This came out 6 years ago, maybe, right around there. I'm guessing. End of Watch.
Yeah, but you still had cops in there who were kind of walking that line, right?
Yeah, the guy that got stabbed in the eye with a fork.
So
he was kind of running the ragged. But I had to strain to come up with that.
But even in that example... you didn't have a complete portrayal of cops as the good guys, right? Even in the new Chips movie, who were the bad guys? It was the freaking lieutenant.
Boy, I don't remember.
It was the lieutenant. It was the CHP lieutenant.
I'm not sure that I watched the new Chips.
It's
movie.
pretty damn funny.
Okay,
but not for children. So there has been a shift in society about who the good guys are. Even war.
Back we had to go.
It is. Even war movies today. War movies in the late 40s, 50s, 60s. What did they do? They credited the United States military, the men and women who served, dedicated to you, right? We want to give special thanks to. Right there at the very beginning of the screen, or at the very beginning of the movie. They don't do that anymore. There's always a message. There's always a point of view. There's always a perspective. There's always an agenda that's being pushed. I read an article that with all these abortion laws and debate that's coming about now, Hollywood and HBO or Hollywood and these television series, they're planning television series and movies that are going to be normalizing abortion. Their main characters are going to be normalizing abortion and being okay and getting through it and all this other stuff. Because of the debate. Now, let me see if I can find this article. So my point in all of this is that as a society, we have torn away our moral fabric. We no longer value the family unit. That's one part of it.
That's exactly what that guy Kunstler said. That's exactly what he said.
We no longer value right and wrong. There is no right and wrong. Right and wrong is...
because that would be evil and judgmental.
Yes.
As I said last night, you don't have a right to tell me no to anything. Who has a right to tell anyone no anymore? Which gets back to cops, law enforcement, to even place a hand on another person from a law enforcement officer. That, in and of itself, is wrong.
I found the story. It's from July 25th. It's by Caleb Park, and it's on FoxNews.com or Fox News. The name of the article is Hollywood countering pro-life laws by normalizing abortion on screen at record levels. The article, again, came out on July 25th.
Oh.
And what he says is, according to a scholar who tracks how abortion is portrayed on screen, Hollywood is pushing abortion on the big screen to counter pro-life laws passed across the nation. Here's a quote: "You're definitely seeing more of the matter-of-fact, I am pregnant, I don't want to be, I'm going to have an abortion." Gretchen Sisson, I apologize if I mispronounced that, a University of California, San Francisco professor.
Oh, there's a shocker.
Who helps run the Advancing New Standards in Reproductive Health. Abortion on screen, it's gone way up in 2019. So she's saying that. This professor is saying, you're seeing more of this matter of fact, I'm pregnant, I don't want to be, I'm going to have an abortion. Shows like Scandal, Dear White People, Veep, and Shrill have been, quote, unapologetically, unquote, depicting abortion, which would have been unthinkable a decade ago.
Well, that's media and entertainment, massively leftist run,
Yes.
doing its very level best to make sure that it influences everyone as much as humanly possible.
Absolutely, absolutely. And did you see? So there was another Hollywood movie that about coming out. Their ESPN actually pulled the trailer from it, and the movie was about what was the name of it? It's a movie about privileged vacationers hunting quote unquote deplorables for sport.
Oh, okay. Whiskey Dale in chat says ads pulled for gory universal thriller The Hunt.
Yes.
in wake of mass shootings.
So that's it.
Yes.
So this is about left-wing elites that go to hunt deplorables. And if you're wondering what a deplorable is a Trump supporter, i.e., go back to the campaign season of the 2016 election cycle. And so these elitists hunt deplorables for sport. Now who's the fucking violent ones? Really?
Well,
could you imagine if you made a movie and flip roles?
Let me throw this out too. Now, you just made an excellent argument for leftists norming abortion, because that's what that is. It's norming abortion.
Yes.
I saw 2 movies, and these movies essentially helped cement my anti-abortion stance. But these movies were fought tooth and nail to get to the screen, and when they didn't last on the movie screen more than 35 seconds because they were anti-abortion movies. The first one, folks, if you haven't seen Gosnell, and I swear, I don't have any idea where you'd go to even see it, because it's not available on demand anywhere that I can figure out. If you can, go see Gosnell, about that evil son of a bitch doctor who killed literally hundreds and hundreds, and they think thousands of babies in his career. The other movie in 2019 that went out and was like out for maybe 35 seconds was Unplanned. Mm-hmm. That was shot down as well.
And that had great people that saw it.
Yeah.
Had great reviews. You pull it up now, and I think you have it on screen with 3 stars. Right? But everybody I know that saw it thought it was great.
Unplanned was not all that graphic. Gosnell was fairly graphic. And the American media maggots and leftists are doing their very level best to make sure that you don't hear or see what actually occurs during an abortion.
Mm-hmm. Yep. By the way, Kaiser in chat listed 2 great movies positive about military.
Yeah, 13 Hours.
And 12 Strong. But what about Cops? Remember, we started that discussion talking about when's the last time you saw a show, television show, or movie that was positive about cops? And then we went into military. They used to credit, and even in 13 Hours, I don't know that they really even said, we want to thank our men and women of the armed forces.
No, that's true.
But they were great movies, and yes, they did not seem to push an agenda. But Kaiser, if you can find me a positive movie about cops, that would be awesome, because I would love to check it out. I can't think of one right now. I know you're scrolling.
I was. While we're talking about that over this past weekend, what occurred? Oh, first the article came out on August 5th. 46 people were shot in Chicago over the weekend, including 7 who were killed. That number was kicked up to 55 people were shot in Chicago over the weekend, including 7 who were killed. Now, having been in law enforcement, and don't let anybody tell you different, folks, what's the definition of a mass shooting? What constitutes, in terms of numbers, a mass shooting? Yep, there you go. 4 or more people shot is a mass shooting.
I'm holding up 4 fingers.
Yes, you did. For those of you who are listening only. Where do most of the mass shootings actually occur? In America's urban rat cages. 55 people were shot in Chicago over the weekend. Is anyone addressing that? No. Here's a great website. I constantly refer to this website with a weird name, but it's called HeyJackass.com. And its motto is...
That sounds like a site I'd have.
I know. But it's not what you think it is. It says, illustrating Chicago values. All this website is a statistical compendium of how many people are shot, injured, and killed in Chicago.
In progress. Week in progress.
And this is how it breaks it down. August to date, shot and killed 10, shot and wounded 66, total shot 76, total homicides 10. Week in progress, 8/4 through 8/10, shot and killed 6, shot and wounded 41, total shot 47, total homicide 6. Year to date, shot and killed 280, shot and wounded 1,375, total shot 1,655, total homicides 307. How many homicides in Baltimore? 300. In a city that isn't a fraction of the size of New York City.
You know what? Why don't they do something about guns in Chicago? Why don't they pass some stiffer gun control legislation in Chicago?
Okay, this is the third tonight. You are on a roll.
Yeah.
Why don't they do that?
Clearly they need to do something about the evil guns.
If you can think of that, why can't they think of that?
I don't know. They must have some of the most lax gun laws.
Doesn't make any sense.
They must have the most lax gun laws of any city in the United States. And I bet it's under Republican control. Who's the mayor of Chicago? It's got to be a Republican, guaranteed. With numbers like that?
Right.
How is it not?
Here is the mayor of Chicago. It's got to be an old, straight, white guy.
Yeah, who hates the minority community.
Oh, God, yes.
Yeah.
That
Republican.
goes without saying. Oh, Republican. Oh,
Trump supporter.
Oh, God, yes.
Trump supporter.
Of course.
Conservative.
Oh.
Gun lover.
Without it. Listen.
Bible thumper.
Bible thumping. One of the
guaranteed.
Bible thumping sons of bitches.
Yeah, guaranteed.
Want to hear a really sad story? We're focusing on El Paso. We've forgotten Dayton because that's just not very convenient right now. Move that aside. Besides, we killed him, right? That story is being written now.
We killed him because he's not a white. He's a leftist.
That's right.
That's why we killed him.
That's so wrong. Fox 5 in Chicago. This is a story. This is August 6th, which is... yesterday. That's right. Overwhelmed Chicago hospital temporarily stops accepting patients. Chicago's Mount Sinai Hospital temporarily stopped accepting patients Sunday morning, this past Sunday, because they were at capacity following a series of shootings, a hospital official said. There was also another story, if you heard, that came out. Chicago has some of these monitors for gunshots. And these monitors, I heard this before I came here tonight. The monitors heard 1 solid minute, 60 full seconds of continuous gunshots near this crime scene. The hospital went on bypass in the early morning, said Roberta Rakov, Senior VP for External Affairs. Hospitals use the term on bypass when they stop accepting ambulance runs, and those ambulances are diverted to other trauma centers. Now, in Chicago, Mount Sinai Hospital is one of 5 trauma centers. At its height, Sunday morning, Mount Sinai had 12 trauma patients. She could not provide information on their conditions. So Chicago is now shutting down hospitals and these are major trauma centers.
If they got rid of guns, BZ, they wouldn't have to shut these trauma centers down because nobody would be shot.
We're going to have to wrap this up, but I have to ask this. Between now and next Wednesday, do you think that the leftists and the rhetoric from the left will become even more heated than it is now?
Yes.
I think it will.
I think so.
I don't think it's like leftists not pushing further left for 2020. I honestly don't think they can help themselves. I think it's impossible at this point.
I would agree.
And so,
and it's gonna get worse.
And so
they're going to implode.
Where does it go? How does it go? Where does it go? I honestly don't know.
Well, Tucker Carlson seemed to allude to that.
Well, thanks for being here tonight, folks. That's Sackhead's Clint. I'm Sackhead's BZ. That's him. I have a libertarian on tomorrow night. So we're
Big L or Little L?
Big L.
Ooh.
So we're going to chat about libertarianism tomorrow night, the Libertarian Party. That should be interesting. Thanks for being here tonight, folks. So have a great night. Thanks for being here. Thanks for listening. Thanks for being in chat. Thanks for listening in podcast. God bless. Take care. Good night.